Hello, I'm Ramie.
And I'm Beth.
And this is Brother Knows Quest, the podcast where I, your host, introduce my sister to the wonderful world of tabletop role-playing games. Beth, can you guess what we're talking about today?
Have no idea. There's no title on this book.
Look on the spine, maybe?
Oh, Shadowdark.
Shadowdark. It won a bunch of Ennies. Best game of the show, best product, best rules, best layout and design in the TTRPG community. That's pretty good.
Cool. Can I open it?
Oh, yeah, you can open it. I have a PDF. That's why it's wrapped up. I ordered it from, the only place I could find it is the Arcane Library. I'll probably leave a link to it in the description. It won't be an affiliate link or anything. You could also get from the Arcane Library the free quick start version of the rules, which I have bought in physical version for, I think, $14 to $15 plus shipping.
Feels like a journal.
It does. The cover is kind of spooky. It's a creepy game in its own way. Basically take the nice new rules you get from 5e that's easy to run and without weird little clunky parts you'd get from old school games like OSR games. So this is the look and feel of an old school game, but it's the mechanics from 5e pretty much. Not exactly. There's a lot of differences. But if you want something that runs a little smoother like 5e and still have the old school feeling, Shadowdark is a great game for you.
What's a bastard sword?
A two-handed sword. You remember what Jon Snow used, the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch?
No.
Okay, well, he has it's a hard sword to use. It's too heavy for one hand and not heavy enough for two hands. It's a weird sword, but some people get really good at them. I guess. I've never got into sword play. Here's the quick start rules, if you're curious what those would look like. That has the character sheets in it, so that would kind of make it easier to understand. And the back of each character sheet has a drawing, a full page cover of the character.
The character sheets are small.
Yeah, it has the feel of a classic fantasy game. Fast-paced and easy to learn. I read through most of it. I picked it up on it quickly, but that might just because I'm used to 5e. I don't know. It is a bit deadlier. It has a rule to take out the easier death, which is what a lot of people don't like about OSR. It's easy to die. And you can fix that in here. It has a sense of risk and reward like most tabletop games. Leaves it up to the player to be creative a lot of times. It is also known for its limited gear. You see that each character has a equipment load sheet right there on their character sheet somewhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't just carry around half your house like you can in a lot of games. And spellcasters, they are able to cast a spell whenever they want, but they have to roll to see if they succeed to do it. It will work if they succeed, no matter what the spell is. And they can cast that spell as many times as they want until they fail. If they fail to cast it, that means they forget it for the rest of the day and they have to move to another spell that they might want to have as a backup. Also, if you critically fail, you have to roll on the fumble table, and there's all kinds of terrible spell effects that could happen if you do that badly. I'm pretty sure the Game Master's Guide, or maybe the Player's Guide, one of those two books you have in the Quick Start Rules has that table. They're kind of fun. Darkness is the core element. It's not really meant to be just a dungeon crawl, but it's a big part of it. Nobody, no class, no race has night vision or dark vision like they do in D&D, which kind of, if you're in a dungeon in D&D, you might as well just say that everybody can see because that's the way the game, most races do now see in the dark. This is not like that. Your characters have to have a torch or a means of illuminating themselves or the area around them. It works for 1 real world hour. So put a timer on. When somebody lights a torch, put a timer on. It'll keep your players from sitting around and discussing how they're going to approach some enemy in a room they see from the hallway or something like that. It will keep them from trying to plan out because the clock is ticking. Soon it will be dark in here and they will need to move. I like that.
Yeah, it's more realistic.
Yeah, because you light a torch, we can't even get a candle to stay lit that long. And torches burn out pretty quick, apparently within an hour. And it's emphasis on speed and simplicity when it comes to the rules. You'll have a variety of enemies in the main book. There's like a little dungeon crawl quest in the quick start rules, but in the main book, there's so many rollable tables to design dungeons, encounters, NPC. There's so many. Like, how many tables have you seen in there you could roll on? Like, probably a lot, I'd say, just flipping through it, haven't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of these games have that, but this is probably the most DEM or GM forward-facing game I've seen when it comes to that. They have a way to roll up monsters, which isn't uncommon again.
The names.
But to have it all in one book. Yeah, names, everything. Even the players have a name option in their little quick start rules.
I mean, you can pick your own name, I'm sure, but they have a table for rolling for them.
Yeah, and it helps with NPCs too. You'll find mythical beasts, monsters of all sorts, undead creatures, which are my favorite kind, otherworldly beings, demons, devils, angels, a decent monster community. And being this kind of game and being as popular as it is, there are more on the way from third-party sources, I am sure. I haven't really looked into those yet.
Random characters rolling tables. I like that.
Yeah.
You pretty much roll for everything.
Yeah, that's the way a lot of older games were. You rolled for everything. You wouldn't know what you was going to sit down to play
That's awesome.
until you sat down and rolled it.
That forces you into things that you normally wouldn't do, which can be fun.
Yes. And when you go to level up, you roll. You don't know what exactly you're getting on your next level up as a perk or ability.
Could you
roll.
imagine me trying to play lawful if I got that?
Yeah, there's chaotic, lawful, and
chaotic,
neutral.
Neutral and lawful.
Yeah, chaotic is evil. Neutral is actually neutral. If you're a caster, it says you should probably be a druid, something like that, because they are more let nature take its course.
You can even roll for your wizard spells.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't, like if you did that, you wouldn't get to choose.
Mm-hmm.
You would just be stuck with what you get.
Yeah, you have dwarf, elf, goblin, half-orc, halfling, humans, and then there are only 4 that's in the core book is the fighter, priest, thief, and wizard. But depending on how you play, like your alignment, it comes across different ways. Like the first thing you do is name, then you get an ancestry, which is basically your race. It does provide specific benefits. Then you choose a class or role like you want to do. Your level, you could choose to start at level 1, being somewhat less fragile, and level 0, which is more fragile. You could choose your alignment. You have to choose a deity too. Kind of goes with that. They have a list of deities in there. There's, I believe, 2 that have been forgotten out of all the list of deities. There's a mixed match of good and bad, and then 2 that have just kind of been forgotten. I don't know what those, I didn't read far enough into that to see what that was all about. You could choose a title. It reflects your level and class and alignment. You could be like a lord or an archmage if you're a wizard. By the time you're maxed out, you only go to 10 levels in this game. But when you're level 10 wizard, you would be an archmage. Each class gets a title. You roll your HP, you get your stats, your background. It gives you a unique history and certain skill proficiencies like D&D. Figure out your AC, write down your attacks, your talents. A character gains talents based on their class, ancestry, and, well, your talent roll. You roll to see what your talents are. You kind of up to a whim, but it's all kind of related to your class too. Spells, if you have them, and then your gear, which you best be careful about because you don't want to carry too much of it.
One of the wizard mishaps that you can roll is, boom, you open a 30-foot deep sinkhole in the ground with you at the center. You and all near creatures must pass a DC 15 dexterity check or fall in.
I like the simplicity of this game and the familiarity.
There's also petrification. 1d4 of your limbs petrify for the next 24 hours.
You could have all 4 petrified. You're just sitting there as a torso and a head.
Couldn't you still move the parts that aren't?
Yeah, but how would you wiggle about like a worm?
I guess belly dance.
Yeah.
See, this one would kind of upset me depending on the things that happen. Eternal Bandersnatch. 2 random pieces of your gear disappear forever.
Oh, yeah, that would be annoying, especially if it's something you just got. If you roll, you know how I said when you level up, you don't know exactly what talent you're getting. If you roll the same talent twice, I believe the way it works out is what I've read anyway. They stack, so it becomes better. So you don't have to worry about re-rolling or something like that. I can re-roll, I'm sure. If it's up to the DM, there's probably an alternate rule in there I didn't see that lets you do that, but it does stack.
What's a Grimlow?
I don't know. Where's it at?
It's another wizard mishap. It says, the Grimlow. You accidentally summon a hostile Grimlow in a space near to you.
Look at the NPCs and monster section in that book, and it'll be in the G's, Beth. I like the book. It seemed well made, even though I hadn't opened it. Everybody I've read,
it is like I had a journal that was made like this, and I really enjoyed it.
It's a lot more pocketable than a D&D book for sure. How many pages are in it when you're done looking at the Grimlow?
Dinosaurs.
They're always going to have dinosaurs.
I like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Grimlow, a tall, oval-shaped mammal. A giant half-moon maw hides on its belly beneath its gray fur. One target in near DC 15 SCR or wrapped in Grimlow's tongue and pulled into its mouth. Bite attacks automatically hit the target.
12 AC, 43 HP, attack, it can grab and bite.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, I should say that the spells and the creatures and everything in here is so to the point. It isn't like a D&D spell list where you see a certain spell and it takes up the entire page, the description does. The spells are very short, concise, tell you what they do. They don't get into the minutia. If you have certain players that like to tweak things that way and use something to the maximum of their abilities, you might want to keep an eye on them because it's hard to tell how they'll try to break the spell because it's so vague sometimes. You get the idea from the name and the action that the spell does. You'll see familiar things in here, zombies and certain spells like shield, and all that kind of stuff you would expect in a standard fantasy game, as well as things like HP, attack, and grab. The Grimlow, it's a very short description, isn't it? Kind of give you an idea what it is and what it can do. I've went through a lot of fantasy games in my short stint as a podcaster. And this is another one, kind of like Morkborg, I guess. Morkborg, I can't pronounce it. I like kind of rules light, but this is so familiar because it's so much like a D20 system we are so familiar with. Did you find any other cool rulable tables you like? I know you like random stuff.
There's, when you return from the Shadowdark, you can carouse.
Carouse?
I guess.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's kind
I'm
of like,
guessing it's like celebrate party because it says to celebrate your heroic exploits.
read what it is, because I was trying to learn this one too, and I ran out of time.
Each participant pitches in for the cost of the event. So it's an event, like a celebration event.
Okay.
Then each participant rolls 1d8 plus the event's bonus to determine their own outcome. Each character gains the XP noted for the result along with any other ill or positive effects. If the group decides to play out the result of an individual roll, the entire group is usually present for the events. And then it has the cost on this little table of each thing, and there's
Okay, so it's basically a celebratory party.
one of 2 days of crawling, dozens of taverns to sing, buy rounds and celebrate, a full night of gambling, hazy week-long bender that runs multiple well-known taverns dry.
Oh, wow. I'm going to come out of that with an addiction.
Spirited feat lasting 10 days that attracts hordes of revelers and takes over the entire town or city district.
Revelers.
2 legendary weeks of drinking and debauchery, widespread
I love
enough
debauchery.
to take over a whole city. It attracts countless celebrants, including famous nobles and bards. The streets run red with wine. And then there's outcomes from these that you roll for, such as you led an entire tavern in a wildly insulting song about a disliked noble.
Oh, that could be dangerous in the long run.
Well, you gain 4 XP and a famous bard ally.
Huh, so I figured you'd gain a famous enemy.
An angry wizard cast a deadly spell at you, but you reflected it off your cup. You gain 5 XP and a luck token. You pulled off an ill-advised heist inside a feared sorcerer's tower. You wake up deep inside the local ruler's stronghold holding one of their priceless family heirlooms while footsteps are approaching. You wake up blearily in your bed. You wake up in a gutter with 15% of your total wealth spent.
No, no.
You're fined 10% of your total wealth for starting a full tavern brawl.
Okay. This is optional,
Yeah.
correct? They said you didn't have to.
Hold on a second.
I'm not much of a gambler. The most gambling
well, it says then each participant rolls 1d8 plus
Okay.
the event's bonus to determine their own outcome. So I'm assuming it's something you have to do if you decide to pay the price to do this, one of these random partying things.
Okay. Well, it's not terrible. I would do it just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
If you like D&D and you don't want to get into something as, at the moment, somewhat notorious as the new D&D Next Edition, 2024 edition, I would recommend giving this a shot just because you only have to buy one book. And
It also has a table for like creating monsters or whatever monster will pop up,
yeah.
which I guess kind of would make it easier on the game master in a way.
Yeah, it has little Zines too, kind of like little add-ons. It gives you an extra mission and some backgrounds and a lot of them give you different things. They run from like $14 for the print or $8 for the PDF. But the PDF version of this book, I think it costs $29 on their Arcane Library. And if you want to get the hardcover with the PDF like I did, that's $59. But still, that's less than the basics you'd need to play the D&D games. I ordered 3 basic books from Reasonable Place when I was going to get them and canceled the order, but I ordered them and they were on sale and I still paid like $140.
The writers of this must have really enjoyed making tables. There's this huge table.
It's an OSR thing.
Something happens. You roll, for a D100. So there's 100 options. Well, not 100, but because they go from like, example, 82 to 83 for one.
See who wrote it. I can't remember her name. She had a big hand or did the whole thing, actually. I can't remember, but I don't have her pulled up here.
Writing, design, layout, Kelsey Dion.
Yeah, that's it. I knew I wouldn't be able to remember the name.
And then there's a bunch of other people who helped along the way.
Kelsey, she has a whole YouTube channel about, obviously, why wouldn't she, for this? If you don't understand a word we're saying, which is possible, you should check out her channel where she talks about it. Or just check out the Shadowdark RPG section of the Arcane Library's webpage. There's also a YouTube channel linking Dungeon Craft, who I follow on YouTube as well. A lot of people compare it to 5e or the new edition of D&D. Between this and Tales of the Valiant are the two games that people are saying you should try, or Pathfinder. But I haven't gotten into Pathfinder 2e too much yet because they kept revising the books. Wanted to wait till we get a final version. Shadowdark, I think so far is coming out on top of my to pick out of the D&D related things, just because it's so similar but so different, and it simplifies so many things that D&D keeps a little bit crunchier than I'd like. I know D&D isn't necessarily the crunchiest game. It got a little bloaty, and this cuts a lot of that out. And I only have to carry one book. You know how nice that is?
It's a smaller book.
Yeah. How many pages were in it? Did you tell us?
No, I didn't. There are. Oh, look, there's character sheets for yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to copy that.
They have it right there in the back where it's easy to copy, isn't it?
Not counting the character sheet, it goes to 321.
And that's a lot of them. And they have little sections on the side. If you close the book and look at the side, you can see each chapter laid out in a way. Do you see what I'm talking about? They have it marked so you can tell where the chapters are when you close the book.
It's
kind of like tabs.
Tabs, but not tabs.
Yeah. I'd rather have those than bookmarks, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah. Well, it's got a bookmark too.
Yeah. Well,
sewn into
really?
it.
See, I didn't even, like I said, I've been reading the PDF.
Yeah, it's
so
got a little bookmark sewn into it.
I had so much to go through, and I wanted to get the Oblivion stuff created too for the YouTube channel, and I had to hold off on Oblivion just to read through all the books. It's been a hectic, and then you started wanting to record every week again. So I was just not prepared like I should have been for this. It hit me out of the blue. But I'm glad I got Shadowdark, and I'm glad I got it before the ENnie Awards were announced, because I bet they're having problems shipping them out now.
I don't know. I like the way this one's made. The littleness of it. The fact it feels like a journal.
It's a solid black book.
It's like a regular book.
Yeah.
Not a textbook.
It's like a solid black book with the Shadowdark written on the cover, on the spine. But the cover shows their version of a beholder on it. If you know what that is, it's a orb with eyes and lots of eyes coming out of the tentacles on its head. And it's their version of that on the cover, in like a old abandoned tomb's arch or something. It's a creepy looking thing. I'll leave the links. Like I said, they won't be affiliate links or anything like the normal ones I do, but I'll leave the links to the Shadowdark shop on the Arcane Library, so you can just click on that and check it out if you are interested in it. I would recommend it, especially, like I said, if you don't want to jump right into the new D&D. Did you hear what the D&D guys have done? Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, more than Wizards, I'm sure. They've taken.
Is that what you told me?
You remember when I said they wanted you to get their subscription to D&D Beyond?
And then they started taking things away that you paid for?
The older stuff that you had paid for, they just started taking it away just so they could have the new edition on there.
Pushing it way too far. I understand the whole trying to get more money with the subscription, but that was bad enough. They are really pushing it way too far. They're going to lose loyal people.
Well, they lost me, and I was kind of loyal. I still like the people who make it. Chris Perkins and all those people, I don't think they're the ones doing this.
I feel like loyalty can only go so far.
I think
a lot of things, like people can't afford things like that these days. Well, a lot of people can. I'm sure some can, but and then you're taking away what they bought.
I don't know.
No refund or anything.
That's the way it came across to me, but I'm not a subscriber, so I don't know 100% what they lost. But I know some of the spells and things have started disappearing from the older content from 5e, from Beyond. Unless they changed it in the last week or so, but that's, when I showed you, it's what it was. That was a rant about something, nothing to do with Shadowdark. But this is a good reason to look into Shadowdark if you are into RPGs. Yeah. Did you find any other tables you want to talk about? Because
it's full of tables. I like the random table. I would play it just because I really like the random.
Yeah.
Even when I'm playing Sims, I like to sometimes randomly, not building, well, even with the building, sometimes I like to have these little wheels. I have this wheel app, and I like to do random things, have random things, and whatever it lands on. And I come up with the most awful looking buildings because of it.
Yes.
I
like
just think it's more fun. It gives you something different.
I'm a fan of randomization as well on a lot of things. And RPGs, tabletop ones especially, for years, that's how you got your character. It makes it fun and unpredictable. The quick start rules. It comes with 2 little books, one's for the GM, one's for the players. It covers the rules pretty well. That's how I got basically the rules down. Then I looked to see if there's too much difference in the PDF I had of the core book. And it holds up together pretty well. You get the PDF for free for the quick start rules, which is plenty. It comes with a little adventure. I think it's actually, I was happy to pay the $15 just to get the print version of it, because 8 character sheets, well made, thick stock. Even the books are sturdy for what they are. They're paper, but they're sturdier than some of the other ones I've had from other games. What else comes in the quick start? Now, I got the GM book, the player book, and the character sheets. Is there anything else that I can't remember as part of that?
There's a Game Master Quick Start Guide.
Yeah, I said the Game Master thing.
I think that's it.
Okay, basically three packets, the 2 books and the character sheets. Solo rule. It also has solo rules you can get for $8. That's pretty nice. There's a nice GM screen. I wish I'd have seen. I'd have bought it too. You can get all kinds of stuff on their store, and it's reasonably priced. Since it's so popular, there'll be a lot of third-party stuff coming out too. You could probably find on other sites like Drive Through RPG or wherever else you get your PDFs or third-party content for things. I don't really have much else to say. I would happily play this over D&D, even if it's just normal 5e that I like. I like the idea of a simplified game a bit better. In fact, it's got a little bit more official ruling for time spent planning. The torch rules really help that out. What do you think of it?
I like it.
I figured you would. It's not just a bestiary, but the bestiary does have a lot of common things, which is expected of a fantasy game. If I got a fantasy tabletop game and didn't find the standard zombie and goblin in it, I would be a little upset. Yeah, I need those for most of my beginning adventures. If you like what you heard here or want to hear us talk about other games, we have a whole list of episodes if you want to go back and check. We're part of the Gruesome Gaming Group podcast network. We have this podcast. We have Leveling Duo. It's a podcast where me and my friend Dakota, me and Beth here talk about video games we like a lot. They don't come out so often because we don't play brand new good video games all the time. But when we do, we'll come out with a new episode. We have Horrific History and Hauntings. It's a podcast where Beth here tells me about everything in the name. Horrific History, Hauntings. We cover true crime. We try to make it funny when it's something that's happened far enough in the past not to be terrible people when we do it. But we do like to cover ghost stories too. There's also a Linktree link in the description. It'll take you to our Gruesome Gaming Group podcast homepage, as well as all of our socials and the YouTube channel if you want to watch me play Oblivion, or listen to the podcast from YouTube if you want to do that. There's all kinds of links there. If you want to reach out to us, there's an email, there's any of the social network sites, X, Threads, TikTok is probably the best way to actually get us to notice the message. Sometimes some of the notifications don't come through, but the emails will come through if you want to email us. Just say hi, give us an idea of a book to cover. People who use the Drive Through RPG affiliate links in certain episodes, appreciate those. They're giving us ideas of more books to buy and talk about. Pretty good. There's also a link in the description that takes you to a tip page if you want to send us a little tip as a thank you or just show your support. It helps us keep the podcast afloat. I appreciate that as well. And I guess that's it. Thank you for listening. I've been Ramie.
And I'm Beth.
And this has been Brother Knows Quest. Bye-bye.